Okay guys, back to the fractions. I've eaten the cheesecake. We know that a half plus a half is 1. But what if you wanted to multiply a half by a half? Well, it's very, very simple. So a half times a half, take the top number, multiply by the top number. So 1 times 1 is 1. Underneath. 2 times 2 is 4. So a half times a half is a quarter, because 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4. So if we now multiply a half by a quarter, what do we do? Equals 1 times 1 is 1 over, oops, that's not very good, Sumo. You'll have to do. Let me just see if I can wipe that out. Make it a bit tidier. Oh. Super Sumo's made a bit of a mess there. 1 times 1 is 1 over 2 times 4 is 8. So a half times a quarter, 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 4 is 8, half times a quarter is 1 over 8. That's an eighth. So if we're multiplying a quarter by a quarter, see if you can work out what the result is. So you multiply the top and the bottoms. So a quarter by a quarter, I'll give you 10 seconds. So 1 times 1 is 1 over 4 times 4 is 16. So a quarter times a quarter is 1 over 16, because 1 times 1 is 1 and 4 times 4 is 16. So we say that's a 16th, 1 over 16. Let's just run through that again. We know that half and a half is 1. A half times a half. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 2 is 4. So that's a quarter. Now a half times a quarter. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 4 is 8. So a half times a quarter is 1 over 8, an eighth. Now a quarter times a quarter is 1 times 1 is 1. 4 times 4 is 16. 1 over 16, 1/16. Multiplying fractions is actually very, very simple. In the next lesson, I'll show you how to divide fractions, and that is just a little bit more difficult, but I think you'll find it very, very easy. I'm off to buy another cheesecake now.